United States attempt to include Trip++ provision, a controversial example of plurilateral anti-counterfeiting trade agreement, and that we call ACTA, signed October 2011 by Australia, Canada, Japan, Korea, Morocco, New Zealand, Singapore, and United States. The European Parliament rejected ACTA in July 2012. The focus has now shifted to the Trans-Pacific Partnership in TPP negotiation, involving the United States and Australia, Brunei, Chile, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam, Canada, Mexico, and Japan. The author concludes that the FTA will result in a system of winner and loser, the latter being the poor developing country. And after Mr. Thomas Jagger estimated the EU third generation approach to IP protection and enforcement and represented by FTA and EPA, he began his analysis by revisiting early approaches start with the first generation agreement of Lomé in 1976 and a subsequent Cotonous agreement of 2000. He introduced the American Caribbean Pacific, the African Caribbean South Pacific, yet another regional area is instance focus on former colony of EU member states. IP protection play a mirror role in this agreement, although the Cotonous agreement interestingly contemplated an agreement for the prevention of abuse of IP rights by the right holder. The second generation FTA policy, on the other hand, actively seek obligation by beyond TRIPS, although this policy have only for expression in strategies paper rather than an actual agreement. In the Strategy for Enforcement of Intellectual Property Rights of Third Country in 2004, the European Commission aimed for TRIPS plus enforcement standards, with a strategy in the interest of both Europe in third country trading partners. The multi-tier enforcement strategy with its carrot and stick approach appears not dissimilar to the S301 approach of the United States representatives. Its ultimate aim seems to lie in enforcing standards resembling the domestic EU level, and there is a designation of priority country, which include Asian country, China, Russia, South Korea, Turkey, and the member country like Asia. The EU seeks bilateral as well as multilateral agreement in this context. Cooperation is emphasized, but sanctions are contemplated as an option of last resort. This can be imposed as a result of dispute settlement mechanism on the EU trade barrier regulation. The potential contribution of private party to enforcement in effort is also stressed in a communication in 2006. The Commission reiterated its preference for WTO multilateralism, but also explained that FTA are to be used for international standard setting of maximum of liberalization that's not currently obtainable under the WTO. The author pointed criticism of the unproven link between IP enforcement and sustainable development from an economics as well as from the legal perspective. Jagger then explained what is called a third generation approach of economics partnership agreement (EPA), which makes the sustainable development approach of the first generation with the IP enforcement policy of the second generation approach. Because of these mixed purposes, the author differentiates the EPA from classic FTA should add one glue between EU and Korea in 2019. So in order to understand the problem of multilateral and bilateral, so let's see the history. At the beginning, two countries want to commerce together. What they do? So the first they sign the bilateral agreement. And after that, they found that's not enough, the trade, the tax, and every issue. So they move to more than two countries, three, four, five, six countries. And in order to do that, they will sign more, and that become international agreement. And from that term, people will move further, and that we create the multilateral. And after we can see the circle, like from the multilateral, bilateral agreement to multilateral agreement, and now we see the bilateral agreement. So the administration of Trump have seen that the weakness of international agreement. So they return to the multinational agreement. So that's the history of the people. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to post at the speaker anytime, and we will try to answer to you and to go deeper understanding in this matter. So Jacob answered this question in the affirmative for patent provision, which bring utility model protection, which also reaffirm the Doha Compromise on public health and on a mutual supportiveness between parties and the principle of the CPD. In this context, we also discussed plant variety protection, and this time we don't have time enough to discuss about the plant variety protection and the CEPA farmer privileges exception, which did not apply the more stringent formula at UPOV 1991. As for trademarks, the obligation is to implement existing international agreement and recognize various WIPO recommendation to provide for more expensive protection beyond the TRIPS reference to commercial activity. However, in the view of the author, the expansionist, we call that, tendency are successful balanced by fair use exception for descriptive term, a maximum protection period for design and reinforced protection